Hey, Rick.
I think she has to do it, John.
Oh, right?
He's in charge tonight.
We don't know.
Pledge
Who's that?
allegiance.
What's that? Debbie, yeah.
Late.
It's Ryan.
All right, I'd like to call to order Monday, December 11th, Village Board meeting. Please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Trustee McClafferty. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we got a full house tonight. We're going to bypass temporarily the consent agenda and move forward to the mayor's report. We have two honors tonight that we're very proud of as a community. We want to start with the proclamation of the Lamont Catholic Football Varsity Team Championship. Need a motion to approve the proclamation.
So moved.
Okay, motion.
Take and roll first.
Okay, let's
do
take
roll.
roll then.
Okay, Stapleton? Stapleton? Here. Present? Here.
Yes, here.
Okay. Blatzer? Kwasniewski absent. Maher?
Here.
McClafferty?
Here.
Snagowski?
Here.
Okay, now.
Okay, all right. Okay, so moving to the proclamation, I need a motion to approve the proclamation. Okay, motion by Trustee Blatzer, seconded by Trustee McClafferty. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, would the football team please join me at the podium? You guys, very, very proud of you. This is awesome. First one in 10 years, is that correct?
For the varsity program.
For the varsity, the two junior varsity, right?
Yes.
Very good. Good work. Good work. All right. Good work, guys. All right. All right. I gotta stand. I'll get behind, we get on the mic here so we make this official.
It's too short, you can't see it.
Okay. Whereas, let it be known that the Lamont High School, I'm sorry, wrong one. Better get my glasses out for this one, huh? All right. Okay, whereas on Sunday, November 5th, 2017, the Lamont Catholic football varsity team won the Chicago Grade School Conference Championship played at St. Rita High School. And whereas the Lamont Catholic football program is comprised of student athletes from all Lamont Catholic schools and parishes that consist of players from Everest Academy, St. Alphonsus, St. Cyril, and St. Patrick. And whereas the varsity football team defeated St. Cimarosa in the championship game by the score of 34-8. During the season, the Saints scored 261 points and only let up a total of 21 points all season long. The team had 6 shutouts in 9 games and ended the season with an undefeated record of 9-0. And whereas this is the first varsity championship in 10 seasons of participation in the Catholic Grade School Conference, previously there were 2 junior varsity championships, which were won in the past 5 seasons. The Saints football program motto is faith, family, and team. And whereas it is fitting and proper that we recognize the players, help me with the names here. In fact, I'll let Coach read them off here.
Michael Ascalani, Sam Andriotti, Cole Brannigan, Jonathan Henze, Gavin Lambert, Logan Masterson, Ian McGuire, Sean Meeks, Owen Moran, Dominic Manizzi, Peyton Solomon, Brady Small, Sean Toller, Seamus Toller, Gus Toller, and Tyler Wilms.
All right. Good job, guys. Now, therefore, I, John Nagofsky, Mayor of Lamont, on behalf of the Village Board of Trustees and the entire community, hereby commend the Lamont Catholic football varsity team on an outstanding season and express our pride and sincere congratulations to the coaches and to the dedicated and talented Lamont Catholic football varsity team for obtaining the Chicago Grade School Conference Championship, dated this day, 11th of December, 2017. Again, guys, awesome job. Congratulations. We're proud of you. Keep up the good work as you head into high school. Great job again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'd love to, but I'm gonna go watch a basketball.
Gonna miss the tip of the month.
Happy birthday, belated.
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
Good job, Mike.
Put that on her, no tip of the month.
Don't read without your glasses. Yeah.
Jason's finishing up.
Are we gonna do the other one? No. Do you want me to do it? I mean, I would do it if you
Oh, I could read it. That's fine.
wanna do it.
Yeah.
Here you go.
It's down there as well. Okay, we have another very high honor to talk about. Our high school, our Lamont High School, was awarded the Blue Ribbon Award for exemplary high perform is an exemplary high performing award, which is given to, I believe, less than what, half a percent of all high schools. In fact, Lamont was one of 3 schools, right? One of 3 high schools in the state. Only one other public school was given the award. So again, very, very unusual, or very distinct award, I should say. And we're very proud of what the high school has accomplished. This is something, a feather in the cap of the entire community. It's a reflection of the entire town of Lamont. In honor of this, we're looking at putting signs up, is that correct, throughout the town, honoring this award. Again, we're very proud of it, and we're very proud of the job, the high school, that you guys have done. So can you guys join me, please, at the podium? Oh, okay, I guess we better do the official stuff first. Need a motion to approve the proclamation. Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Maher, seconded by Trustee Blatzer. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay.
That's why we have a clerk.
Hey, Ryan.
I'll put my glasses on for this one.
Conley Turbo Speed.
Okay. Whereas, let it be known that the Lamont High School has been recognized by the United States Department of Education as a 2017 Blue Ribbon School for an exemplary high-performing school. And whereas the National Blue Ribbon Schools Award was created in 1982 to bring public attention to the best schools in the United States and to facilitate communication and sharing of best practices within and among schools. And whereas in 2017, 342 schools were recognized as National Blue Ribbon schools, which represent the full diversity of American schools, albeit public schools, including charter schools, magnet choice schools, Title I schools, and non-public schools, including parochial and independent schools. And whereas exemplary high-performing schools have their state's highest high school graduation rates and the highest achieving students, the top 15%, in English, language arts, and mathematics, measured by state assessments. And whereas Lamont High School is one of only 2 traditional public high schools in Illinois to receive the National Blue Ribbon School accolade since 2010, and whereas Lamont High School has obtained this prestigious award through well-planned initiatives, a dedicated and determined staff, unparalleled leadership, continuous improvements and implementations, and exceptional student body. And now, therefore, I, John Agofsky, Mayor Lamont, on behalf of the entire village board and trustees and the entire community, hereby commend Lamont High School on achieving the status of a National Blue Ribbon School for an exemplary high-performing school, dated today, the 11th of December, 2017. Again, great job, and the leadership is what drives this, along with, obviously, our community and our staff. So again,
Very much, Mayor.
thank you so
Appreciate it.
much. Thank you. Okay, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Take care. Good night.
Congratulations.
Okay. All right. We will, we'll jump to the consent agenda, and we'll get back to the end of the mayor's report. On the consent agenda, we
We need a motion.
need a
Motion to approve consent agenda. So then you can
Okay.
read it.
okay, we need a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee McClafferty, second by trustee Blatzer. We have the approval of minutes from November 13, 2017, the village board minutes, the November 13, 2017 committee of whole minutes. We have the approval of disbursements, an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2017 to pay debt service on 2.69 million of general obligation bonds, Series 2007 of the Village of Lamont, Cook County, DuPage, and Will Counties, Illinois. We have an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2017 to pay debt service for $7 million on general obligation bonds, Series 2007A, and $2.215 million on general obligation bonds, Series 2008 of the Village of Lamont, Cook, DuPage, and Will Counties of Illinois. We have an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year of 2017 to pay debt service on $1.755 million of general obligation bonds, Series 2010, again for the Village of Lamont, Cook, DuPage, and Will. We have an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2017 to pay debt service on $5 million of general obligation waterworks and sewage bonds since 2000A and Build American bonds of the Village of Lamont, Cook, Will, and DuPage. We have an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2017 to pay debt service on $3.42 million of general obligation bonds, Series 2012A, and $4.75 on general obligation bonds, Series 212B of the Village, Lamont, Cook, DuPage, and Will. Moving on to H, we have an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2017 to pay debt service on $3.4 million general obligation bonds, Series 2012C, again for the Village of Lamont, Cook, DuPage, and Will counties. We have an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2017 to pay debt service on $955,000 of general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2014A, and $960,000 on taxable general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2014B, again for the Village of Lamont, Cook, DuPage, and Will counties. We have an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2017 to pay debt services on $5.58 million of general obligation bonds. These are the Waterworks Sewage Alternate Revenue Source, Series 2015A, and a $2.69 million general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2015B, and a $1.18 million general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2015C of the Village of Lamont, Cook, DuPage, and Will County. We have an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2017 to pay debt service on $4.16 million general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2017A, and $1.94 million of general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2017B, and $890,000 general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2017C. We have an ordinance abating the tax hereto levied for the year 2017 to pay debt service on $1.43 million of special service area. Number one, this is the Route 83 in Main Street, along with the special ad valorem tax bonds, Series 2009 of the Village of Lamont, Cook, DuPage, and Will counties. We have an ordinance for the levying and assessment of taxes for the Village of Lamont, Cook, Will, and DuPage counties, Illinois, for the fiscal year commencing on May 1st, 2017, and ending April 30th, 2018. We have an ordinance establishing a street and bridge tax. We have an ordinance establishing a street lighting tax. We have an ordinance ratifying the abatement of special taxes related to Special Service Area Number 1 of the Village of Lamont, Cook, DuPage, and Will counties. We have an ordinance amending the Lamont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04, liquor licenses, decreasing and increasing A3 liquor license. We have a resolution rejecting award of contract for the Village Hall generator. It's a mouthful. With that being said, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, and I think I'll jump in and give a brief overview. And well done, Mr. Mayor. It was quite a mouthful there. Our December meeting is typically the most. It has the lengthiest agenda, and many of these items are routine, but they are very important. The majority of them have to do with our tax abatements or our bond abatements, and basically what happens there when the village invests in its infrastructure. Whether it be for an expensive road project, water and sewer improvement, renovation of Village Hall, police station, public works. Quite often, the village finances those projects with bonds, and there's several different types of bond instrument you can utilize. General obligation, revenue bond. The bond that the village typically utilizes for funding those infrastructures are called alternate revenue source bonds, and what that means is the village is issuing debt to finance those improvements. And it's saying that it will allocate existing revenues or future revenues that it can count on, not property tax, not including property tax, to pay those bonds. So, for example, income tax, sales tax. Quite often, if it's a water and sewer project, we are pledging our water and sewer revenues. What we also pledge to make those bonds a little bit more attractive is the general obligation of the community, which is property tax. But if the village, and every time we've been issuing these bonds, if the village has the revenue sources that it originally pledged to pay these bonds, then the board abates the property tax portion of the bond, essentially. So by going through this process, while these are routine, they're very important. I want to thank staff for putting this together, and staff after tonight will go and record these documents with the various counties. We're in 3 counties, so they have to go to Will, Cook, and DuPage and then record them. Chris is going to be driving around all week doing that. But they're very important because if we were not taking this step, then these bonds would appear on your property tax bill. So, very fiscally astute for the board to go through this process. Every time we go through a bond rating call, the agencies are very impressed and that we were able to continue to abate these bonds the way we've been doing. A couple of the other small ones, typically in December too, we we approve our tax levy for the year. You know, we've had 2 public hearings on our tax levy. This includes an annual CPI increase, but also includes new growth. So, I mean, the increase in the levy is about 4%, but the majority of that is due to new growth in the community. It's not existing property taxes being raised. For the most part, it is due to new growth. There's a street and bridge tax and a street lighting tax. Those are interesting, and we'll, you know, those basically are included in the levy, but we're required to present for approval separate ordinances to include those taxes. Nothing new. Those are included in the levy and have been included for years, just how we like to have it set up. And a couple other more routine items, if anybody has any questions, but just want to go through that real high level to make sure that the public understands what the board is voting on tonight.
Any other comments? Okay, all right. With that being said, we need a motion.
We have the motion, we just need roll call.
Okay, I'm sorry, the roll call, please.
Stapleton?
Yes.
Blatzer?
Yes.
Kwasniewski?
Yes.
Maher?
Yes.
McClafferty?
Yes.
And Snagowski.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, all right. Moving on, we're going to jump back into the mayor's report. We have a couple of items to cover here. This past Monday, we held a simultaneous flag-raising ceremony to celebrate Illinois' 200th birthday, our bicentennial. Municipalities all over the state joined in the kickoff for Illinois' 200th birthday, and it is a year-long celebration. The actual birthday is next December, so we are celebrating for the next 365 days. So it's 2018. Through a proclamation, we endorse the efforts of the Illinois Bicentennial Commission in promoting, planning, and executing historic, educational, celebratory, cultural initiatives, and further resolve to recognize and celebrate the Bicentennial State of Illinois. The Bicentennial State Commission website, I encourage you to check it out. I did. It's illinois200.net. There are many events over the next 12 months taking place throughout the state, so check that out. Also, we want to thank everyone for coming out for our hometown holiday on December 2nd. We had a record-breaking crowd. The weather definitely helped out. It was very mild. But again, we appreciate everyone coming out. We thank our marketing coordinator, Donna Pacina, the Chamber of Commerce, the Park District, and of course, our Public Works staff, and LEMA members, and all the organizations, and of course, our businesses that sponsored the event. Again, thank you for all your efforts to make this event a success. And as always, let's try and keep Lamont business in Lamont. Also, the Downtown Merchant Alliance Committee, referred to as the DMA, they have a quote-unquote I Spy DMA contest going on right now. This is a great way to check out the painted windows in the downtown and to hunt for the letters D, M, and A in the window fronts. All you need to do is visit all the participating merchants, take a photo of you pointing to the hidden DMA and send them in. You will then be entered into a drawing for a great gift basket filled with goodies from the participating merchants. You can find the information on our website, our news flash. Also, the Lamont High School will hold their holiday concert this Thursday at 7 p.m. with performances from the different levels of bands and the choir. Doors open at 6:30. Also, Hope and Friendship will hold their Christmas dinner and care box delivery on Christmas Day. They are in need of prepared food for the dinners, package for 4-person serving of potatoes, vegetables, side dishes, stuffing, gravy, rolls, and desserts. Please drop off at Old Quarry on Christmas, December 25th, between 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. at the east side door. And lastly, this will be our last meeting in 2017. Again, we want to wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. Let's make 2018 the best yet. So with that being said, we're going to move on. Next up is our clerk's, no, I'm sorry, I take that back. It's time for audience. Actually, before that, we have to take care of a presentation and approval of the 2017 annual financial report. I'm sorry, Chris, we can't forget this one. There's a lot of work went into this, right?
Unfortunately, this is a new requirement that, that was a new requirement that we just found out. The annual financial report it's basically a compilation of the expenditures and the revenues that we had for our fiscal year, so for last fiscal year 2017. According to state statute, we need to file the report with the state and then send all the copies to all the counties, to the counties, the certified copies. The new requirement this year was that we needed to present it to the board as well and have a certified copy from the clerk sent down as well. So this is basically just a presentation of the material. You already had the presentation of our CAFR, which is our audit financial report. This is just an added step for transparency purposes. So the AFR was, it was in the paper. It's a full sheet we put out in the paper in October as well. But like I said, this is a formal presentation to the board.
Okay, great, Chris. Again, appreciate all the hard work that went into that. You know, it's a lot of time and effort, and obviously it's work well recognized, and again, appreciate your staff and everything you guys have done. With that being said, okay, all right, yeah, I know on, we have a appointment of the Heritage Quarter Outdoor Recreation Commission members. We're going to defer that to later in the meeting and under new business. We want to first approve that commission before we announce the members. So with that being said, audience participation. Anyone out in the audience? Okay.
And we do have, and you're free to speak under this portion. We do have, I want to make sure this, 2 meetings tonight. We have a committee of the whole as well. But you're free to speak now as well, and
Okay.
I'm sure we'll be handling this item next meeting as well.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Cara Principi. I'm an attorney with the Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa Foundation for Fair Contracting. The FFC is a labor management organization comprised in part of construction industry employers. The goal of the FFC is to promote a level playing field for contractors, workers, and taxpayers. I'm here tonight to oppose the approval of the Donegal Excavating Planned Unit Development, PUD, that will be presented to you later at the Committee of the Whole meeting. Donegal Excavating owner Simon Bradley has been disrespecting the property that he has been occupying and the village for several years. The FFC does not believe this applicant is good for the village of Lamont or its residents. Many of the village's conditions have remained unmet or require deviations that do not comply with Illinois case law or the village's own PUD objectives. There are several current zoning issues on the property, even beyond those that have been addressed by the applicant. From lot coverage deviations to having a residence on the lot to landscaping deviations, sound level maximums, parking of boats, fuel storage tanks, maintaining a junkyard with illegal storage of tires, trash, batteries, drums of fluid, current stockpiles of concrete and construction debris with no fencing, and the list goes on. But despite the violations and the history of noncompliance, the village is nevertheless considering granting several deviations from the Unified Development Ordinance contrary to Illinois case law. Case law and stated PUD objectives are unfavorable to the granting of the mixed bag deviations from the UDO at play here. There doesn't need to be a change in zoning to make the lot visually appealing. All that needs to be done is compliance with current zoning. Here, the owner can come into compliance. It's just more advantageous for him not to because the village is choosing not to enforce current zoning violations and is instead administratively zoning the owner into compliance via a PUD. All of the owner's hardships are self-imposed as he is simply not following basic zoning regulations. Though the PUD may be to the owner's advantage and convenience, that is irrelevant, nor is the public convenience served in nor is the public convenience served, as the village would be just handing the same irresponsible contractor a more lucrative zoning designation in the off chance that he might start taking regard for regulations. Under Illinois case law, proof of a particular hardship is required as a prerequisite to a variation from a zoning ordinance. A particular hardship does not mean a hardship that is self-imposed or showing that the property is better adapted for a forbidden use than for the one in which it is permitted. Nor does that mean that the variance would be to the owner's profit, advantage, or convenience. And as for special uses, Illinois case law states that the public convenience must be served. Here, the owner can come into compliance, it's just more advantageous for him not to, as stated. All of his hardships are self-imposed, as he is simply not following basic zoning regulations. The public convenience is not served, as the village would just be handing the same irresponsible contractor a more lucrative zoning designation. Nor are the deviations consistent with PUD objectives. The relevant specific objectives of PUDs in the Lamont UDO are ensuring that future growth and development occur in accordance with policies of the village, stimulate creative approaches to the commercial and industrial development of land, encourage and stimulate economic development, and encourage introduction of related and complementary land uses. The PUD deviations are not consistent with these stated objectives. Giving exception to the height, for example, of the concrete silo from 35 feet to 60 feet, does that take into account the baghouse that has to sit on top of the concrete silo? Does the Lamont Fire Department have equipment that can reach that height in case of an emergency? Or, for example, giving exception to the impervious surface coverage from 70% to 87%. Can the provided stormwater detention handle an additional 17% increase from the regulations? Also, it's widely known that the property was a junkyard formerly. And was there any remediation on the site? Batteries leaking acid, oil drums, septic tanks, those tires are all common junkyard items that contaminate the soil. It's up to the landowner to engineer the fixes to meet the standards of the community, not for the public body to zone him or her into compliance. A lot of emphasis has been placed on curb appeal and the area being aesthetically pleasing. If that is the overall objective, why can't Mr. Bradley do that under his current M3 zoning designation? And why is the village handing over a more advantageous zoning designation in the hopes he will comply when there has been no prior evidence of compliance? Thank you.
Thanks, Kara, appreciate it. And again, we will be addressing, we have committee of the whole after this, we will be addressing and discussing this topic at that time. Thanks. Can you just state your name, please?
My name is Joe Sweeney. I'm also counsel with the foundation. I just had a couple more things to go over. Try and make it quick. We just wanted to kind of point out some of the previous citations and lawsuits that Donegal has been involved with. In DuPage County, in 2008, NICOR actually sued Donegal for damages for negligently excavating around a underground natural gas line, which was settled out of court. In 2009, he was, or rather Donegal was sued for past due bills by McCann Industries. Also in 2009, NICOR sued Donegal for over $7,000 in damages and fees for also carelessly, negligently excavating, also resulting in damage to an underground gas line, which is also settled out of court. In 2011, an adjacent property owner claimed that Donegal and another company sharing a common property line with the plaintiff caused over $200,000 in damage due to the defendants either independently or together entering the property without permission. They parked construction vehicles, regraded portions of the property, dumped construction material and debris, removed foliage and the like, and that was also settled out of court. In 2011, the IDOL filed a lawsuit against Donegal for minimum wage and overtime violations, claiming workers were underpaid, and back wages and penalties to the IDOL amounted to about $46,000 that were owed. That was also settled. In 2013, ComEd claimed Donegal carelessly, negligently, and improperly disregarded warnings regarding underground electric utilities, and performed non-emergency excavation and caused over $6,600 in damages. That was also settled out of court. And turning to Cook County, there was a lawsuit for forcible entry and detainer, so eviction, for a property that is exactly where they want to build the current concrete batch plant, and that was filed in July of 2017. I understand that that property is now currently owned by Donegal, or rather Route 83 Properties. There was also a lawsuit for residential demolition that had an agreement not to harm the trees and landscaping that were involved, but Donegal actually removed over 10 trees and vegetation, causing over $10,000 allegedly in damages, which was also settled out of court. Donegal also did work on a residence and failed to secure loose debris and roofing material, which struck a home, and that home sustained $3,500 rather in damages, which was also settled out of court. And there was more residential excavation by Donegal, which caused structural and foundational damage to a home and its adjoining property in excess of $50,000, and that's actually ongoing. There are also, in 2016, they were inspected by OSHA. In 2008, after an OSHA inspection, found 7 violations, 5 of which were considered to be serious by OSHA. And in terms of public bodies, in Downers Grove, where they previously had their headquarters, there were numerous complaints filed with the village for noise pollution and showing a general disregard for residents in the village in which they operated. And there were citations levied by that village, and that's Downers Grove. And just in Lamont, in this town, they had fines for working without a permit, for grading and creating stockpiles, and I believe this was in December of 2014 in the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes. There was a 1-year cap when a final PUD application would return to the village, and that didn't come back until 3 years later, and that was also per that same December 17th, 2014 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. And they also promised to cease junkyard operations 60 days from a consent order ordered in 2015, and that is presently still occurring. Finally, there was some question as to what the traffic would look like surrounding that property after a concrete batch plant was built. And that would depend heavily on the trucks and has the potential to generate over 1,000 trucks per day, not including additional traffic from materials being brought to the site or taken off the site. So a maximum trucks added would be over 1,000 ready-mix concrete trucks per day, and that's based on the maximum output capacity of 400 cubic yards. So 502 trucks themselves would be generated, but because you're coming in and out, that results in 1,000 ready-mix trucks going either into the property or off of the property per day if it's at maximum output. On average, excuse me, on average over 330 ready-mix trucks per day, based on average output, would be added to the traffic around the area. Again, each truck is required to go into the plant and leave the plant, so it's leading to twice the traffic. And I have these, I'll have an impact study for you at the end, so I won't go through all the numbers here, but ultimately, assuming, and this was with regard to Illinois Route 83 and Archer Avenue, Route 171, assuming half of all the ready-mixed concrete trucks generated at max capacity travel north on 83 and south on Archer Ave, traffic increase will be approximately 40% above what it was before on both stretches of road. And on Archer Avenue, assuming half of all ready-mixed concrete trucks generated at maximum capacity enter on the eastern section of Archer Avenue, that truck traffic will increase by over 87%. So just in conclusion, with the history of Donegal's behavior on the site and the history of their behavior on other either sites they've occupied or other commercial enterprises they've done business with or other public bodies that they've done business with, what really stops this property, and I understand that there has been, Donegal says they'll get in compliance with X, Y, and Z, and don't worry about it, it'll be no problem for anyone. But what stops the property from kind of just falling into disrepair once that's come and gone? I mean, you've seen numerous times that he has not complied with the zoning designations, has not complied with, meeting requirements to stay on that land. And I just think, a promise is a promise, but, man, it's tough to kind of go, to trust someone to get into compliance when they've shown for years that they've had no interest in doing so. So that was all I had to say. I do have some copies of that impact study that I will leave with you guys and ladies once you guys conclude. So,
All right,
thank you.
Thanks, Joseph. Joseph, real quick again, I'm sorry, what organization are you with?
Yeah, Foundation for Fair Contracting.
Foundation for Fair Contracting, located out of where?
Out of Countryside, Illinois.
Countryside?
We have numerous, we represent Local 150, so we have numerous, obviously, members that live here, but also we represent signatory contractors, of which, numerous of them live in Lamont as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, again, we will address in our COW meeting, which is following this, we will be addressing the Donegal PUD submission. With that being said, we could move on to the, didn't forget anything else, right? We could move on to the clerk's report.
Oh, thank you. I attended the Southwest Municipal Clerks meeting on Thursday night in Chicago Ridge. The speaker is the fire chief of both Oak Lawn and Chicago Ridge. It's kind of a newish idea, and they were both communities are taunting the idea that it really does work well. However, in Lamont, since the fire department isn't part of the village, we really have no say-so in that. But it was still interesting because a lot of the communities over in the southwest suburbs do have the fire department as part of their village. So, and he did a short presentation on Christmas tree watering, and the thing I got out of it is if you have a real tree, keep it watered. I mean, he showed us videos and spoke of his experiences at fires during the season. So anyway, just keep it watered if you've got one. The only ordinance I have this evening would be O-80-17, and this is amending Title II of the Lamont, Illinois Municipal Code, and this is concerning the Heritage Corridor and the Outdoor Recreation Commission.
Okay, need a motion to approve. So moved. Okay, we have a motion by trustee Stapleton, seconded by trustee McClafferty. George.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the last several months, the mayor and the village board have been desirous of establishing a new formal committee to look after and provide recommendations and oversight for initiatives, projects, and other happenings in the Heritage Quarry Recreation Area, the Canal Overlay Area, connecting areas to this area, to this district, as well as other projects related to outdoor recreation. The village has solicited applications for commission members, volunteers from the community. We've had a couple different meetings with the 7 individuals, and I think today, if this were to be approved, the mayor is ready to make appointments for 7 individuals to serve on this commission. The mayor, Trustee Maher, and myself, Jason Berry, we've been working with the committee on establishing bylaws, some protocol, worked with the legal staff so that we can incorporate these bylaws into our municipal code and make it an official commission along with the rest of our advisory commissions. Again, it would be advisory only to make recommendations to staff liaisons, to the village board related to projects, to initiatives, maybe activities related to not only the quarry area. I think we talked about calling it a heritage corridor and outdoor recreation commission. So it could also include outdoor recreation initiatives, projects, events, maybe items related to our active transportation plan, maybe events in town. So we're starting it new. Our first meeting will likely be in January, and there's several. It's not only related to the new proposed outdoor park that's going to be going in, but also to the Citgo's been donating and investing money into our quarry area for restoration projects. It'll be related to those type of events as well. But at least in the first quarter of the year, we're hopeful to get the outdoor recreation group, Lamont Trails, to come out and give a presentation to the group. before it comes to the village board for formal review. Again, we've had a couple meetings, and I think it'll be a good working committee that will bring in conjunction with some of the projects that we're working on. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Mayor.
And just in general, I've heard a lot of input from the community asking about, the outdoor adventure park. Again, we're very excited about it. It's going to be a partnership between public and private entities. Again, just from our standpoint, we just do not have the resources, Ralph, to maintain this area. And I would imagine the township would echo that as well. We could finally utilize this land and this asset. It is the natural asset we have of Lamont. I mean, the quarries and the topography, it's something, we're very excited about. This could be a game changer. This is a recreation destination potential type of business. Investment upwards of $15 to $20 million of private money. Again, something that we're very excited about. They'll be presenting early 2018. Please stay tuned for more on that. But again, we're very excited about that. So don't know if anyone else has any other comments. Okay. Go ahead.
I think, I echo what you said, it's going to be great for the community, but I just have one quick question on, and this will probably be for you, Andrew. It says on page 4, the mayor, with concurrence of the board, may for good cause shown remove any member of the commission, and that might be template, but does there need to be good cause? I mean, isn't it if you just wanted to change in membership, or I didn't know if that would restrict you from.
Yeah, I pretty much have.
I think that's standard template language that we use. We're hoping that the mayor is going through a process to select good candidates. We're hoping that the candidates are committed and participating. We hope that it all goes along. They do have set term limits, so if it's just maybe not a great fit, then the term will expire, and then the mayor probably wouldn't appoint.
Just caught my eye because it says for good cause, and I didn't know if that was something they'd be like, they could argue back and say, no, you can't remove me.
It would be in the mayor's discretion.
It could be at the wish of.
That's all.
And assuming, well, let's take this in order here. Any other question, comments? Can we have a roll call then, please?
Okay, Stapleton?
Yes.
Blatzer?
Yes.
Kwasniewski?
Yes.
Maher?
Yes.
McClafferty?
Yes.
Snagowski?
Yes.
Okay, so motion approved. So with the motion approved, we have gone through the process, obviously, of interviewing the candidates. We had a great turnout. It was a couple months ago. We've talked to probably at least 15 or 16 applicants. Every one of them showed a lot of enthusiasm, very familiar with the area. A lot of them outdoor enthusiasts that obviously frequent that area, the canal area. So again, we're excited. It was a tough decision, but again, I think these individuals, as George mentioned, it's not only with this private investment, but with the canal area, even the downtown area. How can we bring the downtown area into this, and how to bring in other private companies, either it be Ozinga or ComEd or Citgo. How can we bring them in as well as far as participation? So with that being said, excited to announce the appointees. They are as follows: Dan Ganser as chairman, Anthony Marinello, Mark Pollock, Ryan Shaughnessy, John Timbers, Greg Vavra, and Dennis Valatero. Again, very excited to have them on board. Dave, I don't know if you have anything to add to that?
No, Mr. Mayor, I think you summed it up pretty well.
Thanks, Dave, for your input on that.
Need a motion to approve.
Okay, need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by trustee McClafferty, seconded by trustee Maher. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, moving on, we're done with the clerk's report. Next up is the village attorney report.
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. Next up, George, administrator report.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll keep it brief here since we have a second meeting tonight. I did have a couple updates, some intergovernmental updates, and then also some updates on economic development projects in town, and I think the mayor might have a few on his own. But just wanted to talk briefly, intergovernmental. Several months ago, we had a resident come in and request once again, what is the village doing on the quiet zone, project. The village has been working with Lockport, Romeoville on a joint quiet zone study. Again, these projects take years and millions of dollars, but it is something we are looking at. And since then, Lockport has broken off, and we've been working very closely with Romeoville and updating the numbers. Long story short, we're going to probably have a whole workshop on the quiet zone, but you need to basically create enough improvements so that you reach a score where you're able to, it's all about safety, so you're able to meet safety requirements so that the ICC qualifies you for a quiet zone, and you have to improve different intersections, railroad crossings to reach those thresholds, and we're going through that process. Now with couple items that are happening with this outdoor recreation park is there will likely be a new crossing required at Walker Road. That will facilitate a closing of at least one crossing, and more than likely a private crossing out near Walker Road, and maybe one closer to the downtown. Those are all related. There'll be plenty of meetings leading up to that. Anytime you look at closing a crossing, it's all about safety, where you can purchase some safety points in different areas by closing them down in order to achieve the crossing in the quiet zone. What that will do to our quiet zone, it may make it easier and maybe less expensive long-term to achieve it by adding that crossing at Walker Road. It will delay it until after that crossing is in. So it's unfortunate on one end, but I think it'll make for a better project and a safer corridor as a result. So we are working with Canadian National, along with the private developer. We're doing some coordinating, a true partnership with the Lamont Trails folks to put that crossing in, and then that'll give us an opportunity to create that quiet zone after that crossing has been installed. So we're working on it, continuing to update the studies and going from there, but that project is ongoing. Again, the new crossing may delay it, another year or so, but it will make it a little bit more feasible and less expensive. On that note, we were made aware that Romeoville, their new station, kind of related, but somewhat also stands on its own. Romeoville Station will be opening the new metro station in February of next year. So they have a hard date of, I think, February 5th. They're going to have a ribbon cutting, and the metro station, or the metro trains, will stop at Romeoville starting on Monday, February 5th. So exciting for Lamont. We always, the more stops along the line, the more ridership, the more chance and opportunity to get more trains on the line, I think is important for Lamont. So we definitely support that project. We'll be supporting Romeoville. What that will also do, that will potentially, and we hope, take some parking off of our parking lots in the downtown. If you're a Romeoville resident and you hold a permit, I think we found out there might be 16, 17, 18 actual Romeoville residents who hold permits in Lamont. Hopefully they will go to the Romeoville station, and that will free up parking for Lamont residents and some other things that are going on in the downtown. So a lot going on with trains and Metro. We'll update the community accordingly. I think that February 5th, and we'll know probably soon after how many spots are being alleviated from Lamont.
George?
Yep.
Question. Do you know if Romeoville's going to initiate permit parking there?
It's going to be partial. It's going to be the majority of it will be the daily parking, like we have the $1 daily fee per day, but they will have a section that is permit parking. So, I wanted to go through some economic development updates. Couple updates, starting in the downtown. Had a good conversation with the HOA president from the lofts today. Again, that I think I mentioned last meeting. Good chunk of the commercial space in the Front Street lofts have been sold. We're still hearing rumors on what's going in there. Nothing concrete that's come through the village, but that's a good sign that a good portion of that, including the entire west end, majority of the south, the building that faces south, has been sold, and Marquette has sold that to another user, and hopefully we'll get that filled here soon. The Higher Grounds ribbon cutting, Higher Grounds Coffee held their ribbon cutting, I think last Saturday. Great event. We're happy to have them open, and it's a good sign for the downtown. And we're still working with a developer who has a letter of intent on Peterson's Hardware. Again, that'll take some time to come to fruition. We're still looking at some numbers for a housing project, either condo or high-end rental. So we're working with them to see if that'll work. So a lot going on in the downtown. I hope by January, February, we'll be able to announce something a little bit more concrete. with regard to Uptown, we had an item on the agenda related to a performance-based incentive agreement. Pete's Fresh Corporate is looking and working with GK currently to backfill the old Chapane site. That will be, it's a smaller footprint. Pete's usually are gigantic 60,000 square foot stores. That's a little bit smaller. It'll be a sub-brand of Pete's Fresh, but they have been looking at, they've been working with GK and the Village on backfilling that space. We thought we had it today. We wanted to get that done before, on our last board meeting of the month. They're still negotiating with GK, but we are working with that user on a performance-based incentive agreement to backfill that space, which is very important to the GK Plaza. We just couldn't get it, on their side, couldn't get a chance to review it in time, but we will have that. If it does come to fruition, we may schedule a special meeting or just wait till January. But that's promising. It was going to be on the agenda. It was on the agenda tonight, but we're going to wait till that's finalized and figure it out. But next to in the other plaza, the Jewel Plaza, we're looking at a breakfast place that's coming in. They've signed a lease. There's plans in now in the old Pancake Cafe. So that's exciting. That will happen in the first quarter of next year to build that out, and they already have their applications in to start building out that space. Next to it, I think the signs in the door. There's going to be a dog beach. I guess it's a whole brand. There's several other ones for boarding. Kind of a unique use for Lamont, that's for sure. But that's coming in there too to kind of start filling some of our open space. Lastly, I think everyone can tell in the community driving by the old bowling alley, the first course of the parking lot is in. That's a good sign. I talked to the owner of the property, and he has plans in. He's got a couple revisions to make, but he's going to start to build out the inside, and we're excited to get him on board on type of phased approach of getting him open as soon as possible, so we can start to see some business on that corner. Other than that, I think I don't know if anybody else has any questions about projects in town. We'll try to update accordingly as things kind of move forward.
Yeah, good momentum, especially on the downtown. The more we're able to make progress there, we're seeing land being exchanged and at least LOIs signed. So that's a good sign. Obviously, until something opens up or is built out, that's when we can, formally recognize it. But so far, so good. With that being said, anything else, George, on your end? Anyone else have any other comments or thoughts on economic development? Anything else? Okay. Moving on, no board reports, no staff reports. Any new business, unfinished business? All right, with that being said, no executive session. Any action on, well, no, we do not have that. With that being said, motion to adjourn. So moved. Need a motion? Okay, motion by Trustee Blatzer, seconded by Trustee Maher. Those in favor? Aye. Okay, motion approved. Meeting adjourned. Okay, we're going to take a